Hello, and welcome to Spoiler Alert, where I tell you how something was that isn't yet. This week, we're looking at the new Avengers movie, Age of Ultron. And before we start, I should note that we here at Spoiler Alert are not particularly big fans of the Avengers. I mean, it's not as though we've got a case full of glorified dolls of them or anything. Loki. It is in fact hammer time. No. Yeah. So, when Age of Ultron starts off, we get to check back in with all the Avengers we know and love, and Hawkeye. Iron Man's been getting counseling from the man counseling was invented for. Captain America's been playing a very long game of hide and seek with his other 90-year-old friend. Thor has been trying to figure out why his dad keeps pulling pranks on him. And Black Widow and Hawkeye have just been trying to stay in front of as many cameras as possible, hoping that someone makes a movie about them. It has yet to work, especially for Hawkeye. So, the long and short of it is that on top of their regular avenging duties, our heroes are really busy. Particularly Steve and Tony, who've started running the team ever since Nick Fury pulled a Sherlock. And that's when Tony got the idea from his fellow billionaires. Why hire people to do work when you could just make a robot do it? Thus, he started experimenting with AI as a way to get his job done for him. And since Steve Rogers isn't caught up on pop culture enough to have seen The Matrix, he's the only one off the hook for not telling Tony that this is a terrible idea. And that's how Ultron became a real boy, complete with the metallic body of a Greek god and the personality of an overly aggressive, clippy office assistant. Yes, clearly there were some specifics left out of Ultron's programming, and rather than thinking humans need to be saved, he comes to the conclusion that the Earth needs saving from humans, an idea he probably got from that movie Steve hasn't seen yet.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet.
On the road to genocide, Ultron encounters a brother and sister with superpowers who decide to help him out in his quest to end humanity. For mysterious copyright-related reasons, they say they can't talk about their parents, but something about wiping out all humans makes them think of good old dad. It also helps that Ultron is made of metal. The brother is Quicksilver, whose superpower is speed, and as we all know, when you go very fast, time slows down for you, which I suppose is why he's aged so damn well since the 70s. The sister is the Scarlet Witch, who has magic powers that involve making her enemies see visions of their worst nightmare, such as Tony having no money in his bank account, Hawkeye being replaced by Katniss, Thor running out of ale, Black Widow seeing how much merchandise she's on, or Bruce's shorts failing to cover him up when he hulks out. And speaking of visions, guess who else is in this film? The Vision! Haha, yeah, I know. Anyway, looking at him raises a few questions, like, makes the red man red? And the answer is he's a robot made by Tony Stark, who really should know by now not to mess with AI. But he went ahead anyway because this one is based off Jarvis. Something about that British accent just soothes him, because the Avengers shouldn't have any negative associations with green outfits and British accents. Still, the Avengers are going to need all the help they can get against Ultron because he downloaded his equivalent of the Birds and Bees talk to learn how robots are born. And he birthed a lot. I bet Tony's really happy he blew up all his extra suits right about now. They wouldn't have helped at all. I bet those fireworks were about 12% worth it. And thus the Battle of the Age of Ultron begins and eventually ends, which brings me to the biggest problem with this movie. Its title is a misnomer. It doesn't last an age, it's an afternoon of Ultron, a few days of him tops, maybe a week. Really, if it was an age, the movie posters would have had to have looked something like this. Presenting the Old Avengers. So that's it for this week's Spoiler Alert. Please, join us next time as we spoil Pitch Perfect 2, a movie that is not Age of Ultron in every possible way. See, I figured I'd put that plug in here because I know their audiences overlap so much. Anyway, leave us comments down below about what else you might want us to spoil in advance, and until next time, don't say I didn't warn you.